Welcome to Make You Remarkable, brought to you by Oconee State Bank, the podcast that's all about unleashing your inner leader and making an impact on your community. Get ready for a wild ride of inspiration, education, and a whole lot of fun. Each week, we sit down with local legends, business owners, and influential minds to talk about their journey, their impact, and the secrets behind their incredible success. This is not your ordinary bank podcast. We're here to bring the energy, the laughs, and the aha moments that'll leave you itching to conquer the world. Now get ready to make your remarkable with your host, JT Tomlin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Make You Remarkable. I'm your host, JT Tomlin, and today I'm joined by Jennifer Dollander. Jennifer and her husband, Mike, co-founded Alumni Cookie Dough here in Athens. Jennifer, a closet cookie dough eater, dreamed up a boutique cookie dough eatery after she and her daughter got their first taste of edible cookie dough on a trip to New York. Her dream, paired with an entrepreneurial spirit, was the perfect recipe for success. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited. I've lived in Athens my whole life. And so seeing Alumni Cookie Dough come to Athens has been so cool. I'm super excited to ask about your story. And
absolutely.
You seem super excited because I really am.
That's great. That's great. We love it.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background.
So I was a teacher before I got into the cookie dough world and taught school for... This is my 17th year. So before I came back into teaching, I taught for 16 years.
Wow.
And so I love teaching. Before that, I actually had my own business as well. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. And while I was a teacher, I had a tutoring business. So I've always dabbled in having my own business. I love entrepreneurship and thinking of new ideas. I just think that's really fun. But was not looking for a business when this idea happened. So I was teaching in Oconee County, special education, and loved my job. So, that was kind of where I was at the time.
I feel like that's always the case with entrepreneurs. It's like, I didn't really think I was going to be an entrepreneur. And then all of a sudden, here it is. It's a perfect opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
What were the jobs or what were the businesses that you had before?
So I owned a business called Announcements and More, and it was an online stationery birth announcement party invitation business.
Oh, cool.
And it was really prior to everyone buying everything online.
Yeah.
And I had just had my first child and really wanted to be at home, but I also knew myself well enough to know that I couldn't just be at home. I needed something else. And so thought of this idea, and someone once told me that if you want to start your own business, you need to love it so much because hopefully you will eat, breathe, and sleep it for many, many years to come. And I loved stationery and party invitations. And so that's what I did. And it was very, very successful for about 10 years. We actually started another website called adorablebirthannouncements.com.
Wow.
And shipped all over the world.
Wow.
It allowed me to stay at home and with my two babies and, be at home with them, but still make a living as well. And so it was great. But then, unfortunately, the internet changed and you had to have very, very deep pockets in order to be at the top 10 level.
That's so true.
Where for, almost 10 years, both of our websites were in the top 10 of Google and Yahoo. So we didn't have to pay for advertising. We just had really great websites. But that changed, and that's okay because that's what got me into teaching. And I feel like that's part of who I am. I'm a teacher, and it's just part of my DNA now, and I just love it. So,
it helped to kind of like when you had your kids, like you were able to be at home, and then this opportunity kind of came up to teach, and
absolutely
the invitation business kind of went a different way. And
it did.
Like, well, all
and
right,
that's
here
okay.
we are.
That's right. You got to roll with it.
So tell me a little bit more about what got you into cookie dough, because that's a big jump from teaching.
Yes, it is. It is. So we love New York City, and we had been several times before. So we had done all the touristy things, and I was taking my daughter back for her 18th birthday. So that was in July of 2018. And I was doing research on where to go, things to see, and saw that there was a cookie dough cafe. And we both just could not believe that such a place even existed. She said, that's definitely on our list because we both just love cookie dough and ate it when you weren't supposed to.
Uh-huh.
And so we got off the subway in Greenwich Village, and right away, I was struck by Greenwich Village reminding me so much of Athens. NYU is right there. It felt like home. And then we proceeded to the Cookie Dough Cafe a few blocks away. And when I saw it, it was truly one of those lightning strike moments that I believe everyone has these moments.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is I don't think many people act upon them. And because that fear of failure.
Yeah.
I had already signed a teaching contract. This was in July, so it was in the middle of the summer. So I knew I was teaching in August.
Mm-hmm.
But I called my husband and I just said, we're at this cookie dough cafe and Athens needs this.
Yeah.
This needs to be in downtown Athens. And luckily, he did not think I was crazy. He wasn't even really a cookie dough person, but he was like, let me check on this. This was on our phone call. I'm standing right in front of the place in Greenwich Village. And he said, let me just check, do a little bit of research. And we made our way to Washington Square Park to eat our cookie dough. And he called me back about 15 minutes later. And he said, he was like, just from doing a little bit of research that I've done, it just seems like a great business model. The place in New York does not franchise. They never did. She actually sold her business to an ice cream company this past January.
Were you all in touch with her?
No, I just kept
kept
tabs,
up with her? Yeah.
and just that was pretty big news when she sold it.
Uh-huh.
But she has a young family, so I totally understand that. So he was like, they don't franchise, but he said, just from doing a little research, I think we should do it. And I said, okay, So by the time our plane landed in Atlanta 2 days later, he had already secured the LLC.
Wow.
So there was no messing around. I thought, well, I guess we're really doing this.
So you had made the name, everything was...
It was done. And so that was in July. We signed our lease off North Thomas in August, and our doors opened January.
That is insane.
In less than 6 months from literally the time I thought of the idea to opening the doors.
Wow.
It was less than 6 months.
So what were the thoughts going through y'all's head? I mean, that's so fast, but in a good way.
It was so fast. It was crazy. I mean, everything, I don't want to say everything just fell into place because it didn't. It took a lot of hard work. And we did all of this ourselves. Neither one of us won the genetic lottery. And so we did not have, just mountains of money sitting around.
Yeah.
And so we really had to be very budget conscious. And we watched every single penny that we spent. That red wall in our cafe, I painted that. And, we did everything we could do ourselves, we did. And I went there every single day after school to check the progress and see how things were going. And I think that made a big difference in why we opened in less than 6 months.
I think it has such a much larger impact on your business, having been so invested in it.
Absolutely.
I feel like I watch business owners, and no shame to people who aren't painting the walls themselves.
Right.
But when you are, I feel like it's your baby. You're watching it grow. You're making it happen. It's like there's no room for failure. So it's like, we're going to make this work.
Absolutely. And I think it's just, you have to be your own best advocate for your business. If you're not out there, who's going to be?
Exactly.
And so we just spread the word. It was the first cookie dough cafe in this area at all. So people were like, what are you opening? You're leaving the most secure job in the entire world to do the most unsecure thing in the entire world, open a restaurant. So, but, it was one of those things that Mike and I just felt very secure in the fact that if this doesn't work, we do have something to fall back on.
Right.
And we can go back to our jobs. I actually went back this year because I did miss teaching. So it's just, we just really believed that this idea came into play for a reason.
Mm.
And we just really just went full force.
And that's amazing. I mean, what was your daughter's reaction when, because I mean, you were there with her getting the cookie dough. What, was she just like, oh, we're doing this?
Oh yeah. Our kids just could not believe it. It was funny when we came back from New York, the very next day we left on a beach trip with, we have 5 children together. So, and all of them brought a friend.
Oh,
so
wow.
we had, I think there were.
Were you on a bus?
We were in a caravan of cars, but there were 2 adults, Mike and I, with 10 children.
Wow.
And they all thought we were crazy. I mean, I think they were like, yeah, I mean, it's just, they couldn't believe it, really. And then when we signed the lease and, you know, I designed the logo and just, they were like, okay, we're really doing this.
Like, we're here. Okay.
Yeah. And I think they're all super proud and it's fun for them
As
to
they should be.
Tell people that, you know, their parents started Alumni Cookie Dough. And
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Well, and what a perfect place to start it too. I mean, you were saying you had some doubters starting. I feel like none of those were college students because all the college students were like, oh my gosh, cookie dough.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Usually it was, you know, people around our age that were thinking, what are you doing? Yeah.
How many of the people that come through your doors are college students? If you could do a percentage.
You know,
it's a weird
I would
question.
probably say when school is in session, probably around 70%.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, when the students are on break or during the summer, it's a great opportunity for people to come in with their families a little bit more. So that's been nice too, to see that the mix. And one thing that I really wanted, a goal when I designed the interior, is to really make it family friendly. We have a little chalkboard, you know, that the college kids use just as much as the kids.
Oh, yeah.
But just to make it fun, it's a happy place. It's clean. You know, just a fun place to bring your family.
And I feel like Athens lacks that. There's a lot of, there are some places like Ben & Jerry's has tried, Chick-fil-A with their new outdoor seating has tried. But I feel like they always do well. Because it's a place, because I mean, you have so many people around Athens who are either students or connected to UGA. And so they really want to come back and they want to relive Athens with their family.
Right.
But Athens isn't always appropriate to live with your family.
Exactly.
So
and
it's a great opportunity.
It's a fun place to be.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's great that you'll have that set up.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about starting the business and what was the first recipe y'all made?
Oh, my goodness. Well, the first recipe was chocolate chip, which is still our most popular. When I was creating the recipes, I played around with the ratios and it was a process for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The 5 kids were my test tasters and they were brutally honest. And so I did adjust and, you know, and I believe now it is perfection.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What is the craziest flavor you've ever been asked to make and the craziest flavor you have made?
Let's see. Probably cotton candy. Somebody asked me cotton candy. And just saying that just makes my jaws kind of water because cotton candy is so sweet. Like cookie dough, of course, is very, very sweet. But I can't imagine taking it to that next level. And I may try it one day just, you know, to try it.
Just to try it, yeah.
Yeah. But one of our favorite flavors that I have made that has been a blast is the Bullard's Buckeye Crunch.
I'm super excited to ask you about that.
And that's been our first NIL deal was with Javon Bullard. He's amazing. His family is amazing. They're from Milledgeville and they still stop, but they still order quarts to this day.
Really?
Yes. And they took it to Georgia-Florida game.
Oh my gosh.
But he was such a great first NIL deal for us. And the Bullard's Buckeye Crunch has been so wildly popular all over the country. I mean, people order it all over the country and made one team a little upset, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's okay.
One of the funniest things, because we interviewed Cannon from Gaines Group Activations, who did all of the NIL deal with you guys.
Yep.
Hilarious guy who also just hearing his side of the story was so funny. He was like, I was in class and I didn't know what was happening. It was like fantastic. So what was that experience like for you guys?
When the whole thing
everything
came
started
out,
happening?
it was, you know, we are not, we like everything to be peaceful and, cookie dough makes people happy. And so I was not quite used to this, but it was, when it first started, we were like, okay, we can handle this.
We can keep it under wraps.
This is
It's
okay.
good.
But then when the other team's fan base came out and they started giving us 1-star reviews.
Oh, wow.
And we had close to a 5-star, perfect 5-star for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, now this is serious.
Yeah.
In Google, it's almost impossible. Even if it's obvious this person has never even been in Athens in their life, they will not take down reviews. And so that was alarming. So but you know what we did? We reached out to our customer base and the Athens community and the Bulldog community, and they came back full force. And they have been to our cafe. They eat our product at all of our wholesale locations. And they came back full force, gave us so many 5-star reviews. And so it's all balanced out. And if you read some of those reviews, you know that they're fake.
Oh,
and
for
so
sure.
That part was a little scary, but all in all, they actually did the exact opposite of what they intended to, because the Bullard's Buckeye Crunch is one of the most amazing flavors I've created. And I don't see us getting rid of it anytime soon.
That's fantastic. It's so funny to me watching instances like that where you're like, okay, so someone's mad, so they're going to try and tank the business. And then you have everyone from UGA like, oh, Alumni Cookie Dough. I didn't know they existed. I'm going to go support them now because now they're in this controversy.
Yes.
It's crazy how that works.
That was interesting. And then we've recently done one with Mackay Muse.
Really?
And he's been fantastic as well. So his favorite flavor is the birthday bash. So we've kind of renamed that for him, the Muse News Birthday Bash, something like that. So, but he loves it. He thinks it's great. And he's been wonderful too. These guys are they are amazing athletes. But even better people.
Just stand-up guys. Being able to just talk with them.
So great.
I just did an NIL deal with someone and just being able to work with them and, just hearing their stories is so much fun.
It really is. So that's been super fun.
Well, tell me a little bit more about NIL and how that's impacted y'all's business.
Sure.
Just the ability to kind of work with, UGA kind of, but also just the athletes.
Yeah, just working with the athletes. I think the athletes bring so much to not just football, all of the different sports. They bring so much to Athens.
Right.
And I think it's very special that as business owners, we're able to give back to them now. And I just think that's really a very special place to be. It seems as if the University of Georgia is doing an amazing job with the NIL process.
Right.
I'm not familiar with other universities, how they're handling it, but I've been very impressed with UGA and the athletes that we've worked with. We've hosted events where we've had baseball, tennis, basketball players come to the cafe. So that's been really fun too.
I think it's so powerful because you're watching. Athens is already thriving. It's a great country. Oh my gosh. It's a great country. Wow. It's a great town.
Yes.
And it really, watching the athletes who, really do make up a large part of Athens. Athens is a football town.
Absolutely.
It's hard to kind of think of Athens without UGA football.
Right.
So being able to see them work with companies and kind of help bring more awareness to companies is really cool.
Absolutely.
It's really interesting to see how the community as a whole responds.
Yes. And it's been great too because it allows small businesses like ours get involved as well.
Right.
It's not just for these multi-million-dollar businesses.
Exactly.
We're a family-owned business and we can still get involved, which is great.
And I think that's the coolest part because Athens, I was talking to Cannon about this on his episode. The amount of businesses in Athens connected to UGA is insane. A lot of them are alumni or people who have been associated with UGA, whether it be school or just huge fans.
Yes.
Everyone's associated with the school. So
Absolutely.
being able to have the school use what a lot of people are connected to it for, the football,
right,
and really work with that and kind of promote using that is crazy. And that
right.
a small business can afford that is even cooler.
Right. It really is.
It's
been a great opportunity. My husband, Mike, absolutely loves it. That's his, I always tell him, this is your baby, this is your baby. So It's
Do you
been
get like
really
everything
fun.
signed?
He loves it. Yes, it has
Do y'all
been great.
do like a wall or anything where you're like showing off who's coming
We
in?
have a wall just full of, the newspaper articles from, the 2 times we've won the Natty. Hopefully it'll be 3
Oh,
soon.
yeah.
And yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Could you imagine 3 times back-to-back champions?
Yes, that sounds really good.
It's so cool.
3-peat just sounds really good.
3-peat?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good flavor.
Yeah. Oh, I think so, for sure.
That's the scoop.
That's the scoop.
Oh,
Absolutely.
man. Have y'all used that? Have y'all played off of that yet?
We have not. No.
Oh, you got to. You're like your blog article or something like the scoop.
The scoop
man.
is, yes.
So what is the most popular flavor in your
Chocolate chip.
opinion?
For
Chocolate
sure.
chip?
Yeah, we sell 50% more chocolate chip than any other flavor.
Oh, wow.
That's just what people think about when they think about cookie dough.
And it's so
they
good.
just think about chocolate chip. Yeah. And that's been true with our franchises as well. So it's people just love chocolate chip.
Well, tell me a little bit more about franchising. So what does that look like? And I mean, for a mom and pop company from Athens to start franchising outside, what is that like?
It's a little crazy. It was not something, I mean, my husband and I, Mike and I, we have no experience with the restaurant business. I was a hostess at Applebee's in high school. That is my experience with restaurant life. And Mike didn't either. And so, but right when we started, we had interest almost right away. People saw it was this is a special business. It's a special concept. And we had lines down the street for months after we started. And so we knew we had something very special. Our product is amazing. So we actually reached out to Jittery Joe's and asked them, about franchising.
Yeah.
And Bob Gooch is amazing. And he led us to their attorneys that they used. And we used the same attorneys. And for the next 6 to 9 months, we franchised.
Wow.
And so that was lots and lots of meetings and just really getting down to the nitty-gritty details of running the business. And that is not how my brain works. I'm like a big picture person. And so having to do that for that many months, it was a daunting process, to say the least. But I'm so glad we did it. I truly believe now that we are a stronger business because we went through that process. It really made us look at everything in detail. And so it's interesting, our FDD, our franchise agreement, was finalized about 2 weeks before COVID.
Wow.
So we had spent all of this time and all of this money, and the world shut down. And so it was pretty tough because you thought, I thought, oh my gosh, we have just spent so much money and all of this time, and we have these beautiful binders with the FDD, and no one's going to buy a business right now.
Right.
That's just, but they did,
Really?
and we've sold, we have 2 other locations. We have one in Milton, and then we have one in East Cobb, and we have several that are in the talks.
Yeah.
So it's, it was tough at first because you really kind of doubted whether or not someone was going to buy a business after what the world went through. But, life goes on, and you have to think to yourself, am I just going to stop, or am I going to become better because of this? And we chose to become better. And so that's what we did. And it's been a fun process for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, talking a little bit more about COVID, what was that like for you guys? How did that impact your business?
So it was really, really scary at first. It's just, you have to make, I think in any situation like that, you have to make a decision. You have to think, is this going to be it? We're a small business, we're family run. No one would judge us or think twice about us closing the doors, But then I spent about 2 days wondering, what are we going to do? All of our employees went home. It was me. My Mike at that time was still in healthcare. And so he was very busy doing that. And I I knew that it was going to be up to me. And so I just decided after a couple of days of having a little pity party, I decided, you know what? This is it. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make this work. So I was at the cafe from open to close. We did have reduced hours. People were allowed to come in the cafe and order, but they weren't allowed to stay. And then we started providing curbside pickup. And we also introduced neighborhood deliveries. That was incredible. The Athens community, the Jefferson, Oconee, I mean, they showed up big time. And we were booked out 2 weeks at a time for neighborhood deliveries. And so I would be at the cafe all day, and Mike would come home from work and we would go deliver.
Wow.
And our children would deliver. And it was just, it was great to see that part of the community just really showed up. It was amazing. And I was so thankful for that. I was thankful because it kept our doors open. I was also thankful because there were so many people during COVID that could not get out, and they were at home, and all they could watch was the news. And the walls start closing in after a while. And I was able to see the positive that happened during COVID. And part of that positivity was, local people came together and supported each other. And that is really when I realized how important wholesale was to our business. We had started wholesaling a little bit prior to COVID, but, we had a handful of accounts. Well, guess what happened? During COVID, all of those businesses still ordered because people were still shopping local.
Right.
And so it really just hit home with me that this is a part of our business that we need to expand on. And we're in over 150 wholesale locations nationwide.
Wow.
And so that part of the business is just growing by leaps and bounds, and we're really excited about that.
What we're talking about how COVID kind of spurred that decision to go wholesale. But after COVID, what kind of kept that ball rolling?
Well, I think we realized as a business, it's very important to have many spokes on your wheel. You just don't want to have the cafe because, especially being in Athens, we love Athens, but it is a college town, and there are times of the year where it's not as busy as other times.
Right.
So you want to have other streams of revenue coming in. Wholesale is one of those streams of revenue that's always coming in. And so it's not dependent upon the students being in class. It happens throughout the year.
Well, reaching a whole different market.
Absolutely.
And it makes it such a good opportunity.
Yes, it's been such a great opportunity for us. It's also something that we offer to our franchisees. We draw out a wholesale area for them so they have their own territory. And we try to encourage them to get as many wholesale accounts as they can because, with COVID happening, you just don't know what is going to happen, and you want to be prepared. I think that's what COVID has taught all of us is, you just want to be prepared. It's not that you're living in fear. You just want to be prepared. And so having that wholesale business, having that be a part of our business has given us that security. And it's allowed us to reach so many more people than we would have if we were only dependent upon cafe business. So we're in so many little small towns that would never warrant having a cafe. But guess what? Those little small towns can get Alumni Cookie Dough at their, local gas station or their local grocery store or pizza place or coffee shop. Those are all places that we kind of target. And we've actually gotten into other universities recently as well. So that's been fun as well. We're in Georgia Tech and Georgia State and Furman. So our list of universities have really grown as well.
But still, go Dogs.
Go Dogs 100% every single day.
Well, kind of hearing, listening to your story and listening to what drives Alumni Cookie Dough, it sounds like community and engagement is such a big thing. Talk about giving back to the community and what kind of fuels that for you guys.
Absolutely. So prior to the cookie dough business, I was a special ed teacher. So the special ed community is very near and dear to my heart. And I had been involved with ESP a little bit before getting into cookie dough. And then after getting into cookie dough, Laura has always been very, very supportive. And we would bring cookie dough to ESP. And it was a great relationship. And then after I left teaching to do alumni full time, I was asked to be on the board. And so I sat on the board for 2 years, and that was a great experience just watching the growth of ESP and Java Joy and just all the lives that they are touching and changing is very inspirational. And then last year we were asked to be a corporate sponsor. And so they are our main philanthropy, and we give back to them every month. When I started this business, it was very important to me to have a deeper reason than just, selling cookie dough. It was, we are truly changing lives. And I wanted that to be the passion of all of our franchises because, if you just do something for so long, you've got to have a deeper meaning behind it, or it's not going to have that longevity. And so I believe that, when you give back, you get more in return. And it's just been a passion of ours from the very start. And so we're very, very proud to be a part of ESP and really believe in their mission.
So I'm curious because you have the support of all of Athens. What does fundraising look like for that?
So a part of our one of the other spokes on our wheel, along with wholesale, is fundraising. Being a teacher, I was very familiar with lots of fundraisers. A lot of fundraisers are kind of painfully boring, and you can only buy so many rolls of wrapping paper. And so I thought, why not do cookie dough fundraiser? And so
that's awesome.
We have a court cookie dough fundraiser, and it has been wildly successible, not only for us as a business, but these, little travel teams, gymnastics, teams, they, in a matter of 2 weeks, they earn enough to go on a trip or to pay for their uniforms or, buy equipment. It's been amazing. And we actually have started to do entire schools as well.
Wow.
So there's no fundraiser and we've had we've had several people that are going on a mission trip and they need money to go on a mission trip and they've done a fundraiser. It'll pay for their mission trip.
Wow.
And so there's not a fundraiser that's too small or too big. And it's just, that part has been really exciting to see. And we've had several of them that have come back and done, 2 and 3 fundraisers. And so it's, they say it is the easiest fundraiser they've ever done. And we're local. Our whole tagline with the fundraising is local helping local. Yes. Can you go out and do another cookie dough fundraiser? Yes. It's not as good as Alumni Cookie Dough. And the whole point is, where to find us. If something is not right, we will make it right. And I just think that's so powerful when you think about, local schools, local gymnastics teams, local baseball teams. Local helping local. And that's just a big passion of mine.
Well, that's so important. The next question I have for you is talking about remarkable experiences. And that's, right there, that's an incredible, remarkable experience is really working to help people within your community because you're a part of the community.
Absolutely.
But talk a little bit about that. What does it look like for Alumni Cookie Dough to create remarkable experiences?
Gosh, well, I think it starts with, our home base, which is in downtown Athens. It all started there, and making that a remarkable experience for everyone that walks in that door. That's first and foremost. And then I think what you have to do as a business is you start small and then you just branch out. And that's what we've done. And we've done that now through wholesaling, through our franchisees, through our fundraising. And we just try to touch those lives a little bit at a time. And, and through ESP. And it's just, that's what makes the business fun for us. The cookie dough is great and it's a great product, but there's so much more. And that's what builds that ultimate remarkable experience.
That's such a beautiful thing. I mean, but it's incredible to hear how how your testimony and hear how you're really investing in Athens and then creating those remarkable experiences and just learning about your job and what it looks like. My last question before we go into our lightning round is, what is your favorite part of your job?
Oh my gosh. To this day, my favorite part is when I hand someone, I'm not at the cafe very much anymore, but there are two that I can think of right off the top of my head. One is when I hand someone a sample and they have never tried Alumni before.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it like the cookie dough dance because they will literally like just do a little dance, and I'm like, that's it, and
That's your flavor.
That's it. And they taste it and they're just like, wow, it's amazing. That is so fun for me, especially because they're my recipes. To see someone's joy that it's bringing them, it makes me so happy. And then another one is in our cafe, in all the cafes, we have a window into the kitchen. That was important to me because I wanted people to see what we were doing back there. And there have been several moments. One was, when we first started and we had so many people in that cafe and people lined up down the street, just taking a moment and really embracing that moment. That look what Mike and I have created.
Yeah.
Look at what we've done. And then the other moment out of that window was the first time we had a crowd after COVID.
Wow.
When we opened back up, and there was a moment, it just, it brought tears to my eyes looking out and thinking, we're going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. And it was amazing to see everyone out and just enjoying themselves again.
I'm sure that's such a crazy moment because the slogan during COVID, is that a word? That's a word, right?
Yep.
Well, I don't know why that was hitting me so weird. I was like, slogan, that feels weird. But the slogan during COVID was, when will it be normal again? Or just get back to normal.
Yes.
And see, I remember the same kind of moment, like going to I think it was a restaurant and just like seeing people and being like, oh.
Right.
Okay, we're okay.
We're okay.
And,
we're okay.
As a business owner, that's such a powerful moment to be in. Because you're like, the past couple of years have been so much stress. It's like, how can we make this work?
Right.
And then being able to see it, you're like, whoa.
Well, and I think I think every single business, especially, had to make that choice of, are we going to be better because of this? Or are we going to let this destroy us? We can shut our doors. So many people did. And I don't put blame on anyone for doing that.
Right.
It was a very, very stressful time. But, or are we going to look at every single nook and cranny of this business and decide how to make it better? And we decided to do that.
Just making it stronger. That's such a powerful way to think about it.
Yes.
So you have that really trying time. And you're like, all right, we're being tried anyway. Let's go ahead and make it stronger. We're going to be better.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we really looked at not only our operations, but the cost, how much we were paying for things and how can we fine tune this more? And we took that opportunity and ran with it.
Really, it's crazy that you use the word opportunity because that's what I was going to say. You took that opportunity and you made the best of it.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Well, going into our lightning round,
I'm excited.
Fun little questions. Share a personal best in your life.
Oh my gosh. I would have to say my husband and children. I know that sounds crazy, but yes, Mike and I met later in life. And so, he's just, I feel like he's just the best. And so that's definitely, and then being a mom, I've wanted to be a mom since I was a little girl. And so, having my own children and now having 3 additional children through marrying Mike has just been a huge blessing. So, yeah.
What is the most recent show that you've binge watched or are currently watching?
Oh my gosh, we cannot stop watching Suits.
It's so good.
It's so good. We're flying through, I think it's season 4 right now, but we absolutely love Suits. Yeah.
There's always that TV show that you're just like, you can't stop. You just keep going. You're like, I want to know.
It is wonderful.
Suits is one of those.
We love it.
Good.
We love it.
What is your favorite book or other resource?
Oh my goodness. There is a book that I love. It is by Michael Gerber, and it is I can't believe I cannot remember the name of it. We recommend all of our franchisees read it. It is the E-Myth Revisited. And what that is, it goes in, I love it because there are so many similarities between Alumni Cookie Dough and the business that is featured in E-Myth. And basically, it goes into starting a business. And it really looks into the franchise part of the business and how even if you are not going to be a franchise, you should still go through that process. It makes you a stronger business from going through that process. And I love that entire story so much.
Yeah.
I've listened to that. It's an audiobook that I've listened to, and I've probably listened to it 5 times.
Wow.
And anyone starting a business, I recommend that book to them because it's very eye-opening, and it really makes you just look at being an entrepreneur in a different light.
Well, aside from reading the book, what is the most impactful piece of advice you've ever been given? I read that wrong. I was about to say that you've ever given, but actually both. What's the most impactful piece of advice that you've ever been given? What's the most impactful piece of advice that you can give?
I think the most impactful piece of advice I have ever been given was that piece of advice that someone gave me years and years ago before I even had my stationery business is if you are going to start a business, you need to love it so much that you can literally eat, breathe, and sleep it.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to be sick of this in 6 months, don't start it.
Right.
So that was a great piece of advice that I was given. And then as far as me giving advice, especially I'm 50, and so being kind of in midlife, still hard for me to say that, but being in midlife and, my children are kind of leaving the nest, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. It's never too late to, if you have one of those lightning strike moments, take a second look. Don't just pass it by because you're scared of failure.
Right.
Yes, you may fail, but that's okay. It's just failure is not a bad thing unless you don't learn from it. And it's just to really just go after your dreams and do hard things. Life is not easy, and it's just not a bed of roses.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, but the hard parts are worth it. And the hard parts are where the greatness comes from. You have to go through those hard parts. And I think that's what I encourage others to do is don't always just keep it easy, do the hard things.
Every rose has a thorn.
Absolutely. And it's just, it's not always fun, but you get through it. Luckily, I have a great partner in Mike that we bounce ideas off each other all the time and really respect each other enough to listen. And goodness knows if he wouldn't have listened to me, we wouldn't even be here.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. What is something you tell your staff or your families, like your mantra?
Life short, eat the dough.
That's a great one.
That's kind of our alumni motto is life short, eat the dough. But yeah, that's just kind of a fun way to say,
That's so great.
life is short, and you have to truly embrace life. And yeah, it's just you've got to go after the things that you believe in and stand up for the things that you believe in. So,
what is the best thing to go with cookie dough?
I always go to our milkshakes. Our cookie dough milkshakes, I think they are the best milkshakes in the world. They are just outstanding. And so we have literally had people, it's so funny to see them, take a sip for the first time. We've literally had people blurt out cuss words and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. And we're like, it's okay.
I will take that response.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, but it's hilarious to see their response. So yeah, our milkshakes are just out of this world.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What is your favorite flavor that y'all have?
Oh my gosh. Fresh, my favorite flavor has got to be the peanut butter surprise. I am a
Ooh.
big Reese's cup person. I love Reese's cups. And so taste testing the peanut butter surprise is my favorite. And then when it's chilled, the cookies and cream is my favorite.
Ooh, that one sounds good.
Yeah, it's great.
I literally am thinking right now that I'm going to get not ice cream, cookie dough after this. I'm
yes,
like, I
absolutely.
live so close. I can just walk there. I'll be there tonight.
Yes, you need to. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And lastly, what is your favorite thing about being a business owner in Athens?
Oh my gosh. I think it's just being a part of the community. It's just been so much fun and just getting to know other business owners, just really networking with other businesses has been so much fun. And that's just been great. And that's an opportunity we wouldn't have had if we had not opened in downtown Athens.
And you're in the perfect place to do it.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yes.
So we end every podcast with the same two questions. But first and foremost, when you heard the terms make you remarkable, what did that mean to you?
Making a difference. Just if something's remarkable, it's better than fantastic. It's better than great. And I think that is better than any of that is making a difference, and just making a difference in a person's life, in a person's day. And, with cookie dough, it's that moment, for that moment, their life is remarkable because it doesn't matter if they've had the worst day in the whole world. When they are having that cookie dough, it's a great day. And so, just making people happy.
That's a great answer. My second question was, what does it mean to be remarkable? But you got it. You answered it.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Talking about your story. It's so cool to hear it.
Thank you so much.
And I will easily be there tonight to get some cookie dough.
Come on down. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.